Now these next two items came in from Sabrent, and they're going to look the same, but they are quite different. These are Rocket Pro drives, and these came in free of charge from the company, by the way. Now you'll notice one has Thunderbolt, and the other one is USB Type-C. The Thunderbolt drive is likely going to be faster than the USB-C version because Thunderbolt can push 40 gigabits per second over its connection, whereas USB-C, at least this type of USB-C that's on this particular device, will max out at 10. And as such, even though the guts of these drives are likely the same, the speed and the price will be different between the two. The Thunderbolt one, of course, being more expensive. So let me get this opened up here without cutting my hands open, and we'll see what this looks like, and we'll take a look. Now, one of the things with Thunderbolt versus USB-C is that they use the same connector, even though the technology is very different, and that's often very confusing to consumers. Soon, Thunderbolt and USB will kind of merge into this weird thing where USB 4 is going to be Thunderbolt 3, but it's still very confusing, I think. So in any event, here is the drive, a nice metal case. This is the Thunderbolt version. You know it is because it's got that big Thunderbolt icon on there. And although this looks like you could plug it into a USB-C computer, it won't work because it's a different technology. In the bag here, or the box, you get a Thunderbolt 3 cable, which is always good to get. And these cables are pretty pricey on their own, so it's good that they include one here, and you are ready to go with that. We'll have a full review of these and the speed of them coming up soon, so stay tuned. And let's just unbox the other one just for the heck of it and see what we have inside. A little plastic there. I'm going to have to cut a little bit more off. There we go. I do cut away from my hands now. I used to cut the other way, and that was not something the viewers liked. So we'll undo that, and we'll open it up, and there you go. So you can see this one has a little different icon, like their own little logo. But they look the same, so you've got to be really, you got to really pay attention here when you buy these to make sure you get the right one, because if you look at these things, I mean, they really look the same, but again, this one will work on both a Thunderbolt and a USB-equipped computer, but this one will only work on the Thunderbolt one. So just be aware of that. And then we have a USB cable here. Now, one other thing to note on these is that these USB drives have different speeds depending on which generation of USB they support. So this one is what's called a Gen 2 drive, which means it can support up to 10 gigabits per second if you have the right cable and if it's plugged into a computer that supports that rate of speed. So they do give you the right cables in the box, but if you go out and buy a third-party cable, make sure it's a Gen 2 cable, because you can buy a USB-C cable that only runs at even the old USB 2 speed, which is significantly slower. So you've got to be really, you really got to pay attention when you're buying these cables. The nice thing, though, in the box here is you've got the USB-C cable, and you've got a USB-C to USB-A cable. So good stuff there. Again, full review coming up on this very soon.